We're off to the west to have a cutscene before I actually make my way over there. I mean, yeah, we could have a battle. All right, Hop. Sure, let's go for it. You're doing fine, Roundy. I'd say I'm the one who should be worried about that sort of thing, but to be fair, I admit that I don't try super hard on the whole audience building thing. I'm here for fun, and that's mostly it. If I get and keep an audience, well, quite frankly, I will be shocked. It would be nice to be able to turn this into like a profitable endeavor. Buddy, are you going to do that in every single fight that we have, Hop? I'm doing the same type chart thing that I have the entire game. You very silly man. Very silly small man. They do kind of like go a little overboard with the amount of like cut-ins, I think, for some of these fights. Like, oh yeah, you used a type effectiveness that you knew like a million times already. I mean, I get that it's like, oh hey, we have higher technology, we can have like little mini cutscenes in battles, but ease off a little bit. Come on, guys. Let's see if we can't get Gene Hoglan some free experience here, though. Ooh, yeah, that's some free experience for sure. In before turn 1 thaw. I'd be sad, but I've heard about it happening before, so I know it exists. More like hop into a... He's definitely like the most underwhelming of the rivals, and I've said that before. Because, yeah, as I sort of alluded to, how many different variants can they actually do of the exact same character type? Which is why I do sort of appreciate the early era where it's like, oh yeah, they had Gary motherfucking Oak and they had Silver. I feel like I probably wouldn't want another Silver so much. It would be a breath of fresh air compared to what we have now, but also, how many times can you really do that, right? But I suppose that being like, oh, this has gotten old in a franchise that we're on the 9th mainline game in the most basic calculations thereof. I think that there's only so much you can do with that in terms of just like, yeah, eventually things are going to tire you out. I mean, if you can select if you want a babby rifle or a big old butthole. Well, I think that would be, well, it would certainly be an interesting bit of setup. So here is our other new grass type for the region, Gossifleur. I don't remember if there's any other new grass types in Galar other than the starter and Gossifleur, but thankfully this isn't a case of like, ooh, this is what you should get when, this is what you have to do if you didn't take Chimchar kind of situation. It's not like that, thank fuck. But also, they haven't added a large number of new Pokemon to a Pokedex since Gen 5, which, to be fair, they added what, 155 for Unova because they were sort of doing the sort of hard reset kind of thing. So for them to have a little bit more of holding back, I kind of understand that. You know, maybe the idea book is a little bit tapped. Also, they did start doing regional variants in Gen 7, which kind of pads it out a little bit more, which is fair, and in some situations, I think that that probably helps repair the idea of like, oh, well, better that than them just having designs that are kind of like bootleg versions of previous Pokemon, you know? Oh, so you mean kind of like what happens in the Gen 9 DLC passes? In a sense, with some very big asterisks there, that the dynamic is a little bit funky. But, yeah, this thing is just singing every time I wake up. I'm surprised to discover that Gossifleur has any other moves than that. But I do want to try to get one more hit in. That's entirely fine. I'm not saying that I would recommend it. Oh, hey, it does have a grass move. Hey, wow. But there's sort of a dynamic of that. I almost said gimmick. That's not really true. There's sort of that dynamic because you enter into the first one, which is called Kitakami or something. I forget. Yeah, Kitakami. And you meet... What are the... God, it's amazing. I was literally just thinking about this and I forgot right afterwards. Carmine and Kieran. And it starts out that Carmine is a total bitch. Like, Carmine is genuinely an awful person and basically opens up being kind of racist and also, like, really awful to her little brother Kieran. But she softens massively in the second DLC and eventually kind of, like, swings around to being your friend, as in, like, not talking shit about you for being an outsider by the end of the first DLC. Meanwhile, Kieran watches good things happen to you constantly, and he just goes apeshit and gets mad because the local legendary becomes your friend, and he wanted to be the one who trains it, and he just turns into a total dickhead afterwards. And basically most of DLC 2 is cleaning up after him until you go find the new legendary for that DLC, which he steals right out from in front of you with a Master Ball. Because he's kind of a jerk, and of course he gets punished for it. But anyway, I've got a Pokemon here that is in need of a nickname. What? Tav, shut up. Yes, it does evolve. Give me a sec. I can go get the picture of the evolution, if that helps. Nemona was pretty alright. I didn't dislike Nemona, I'll say that. I kind of didn't like the specific memes around her as resembling the character Xenos from Final Fantasy XIV. Which has very little to do with the fact that Xenos was like a terrible person. I mean, okay, whatever, but yeah, so that's what it evolves into. I think that more of it is just like, yeah, no, the idea of people describing Nemona as being like Xenos is just like a very big read another book sort of energy for me. And also, Kieran kind of feels more like the Xenos of the franchise, if anything. Well, that's a whole other story to me. Yeah, that's right, Tav. It turns into a cotton puff thing from being just sort of a generic flower that you were saying looks like a pepper, which not quite. Don't think it scans as a play on Pepsi Man you would hope for. I mean, to be fair, I do appreciate that that you were going to go for a Pepsi Man joke. That's pretty great. We do always appreciate a good Pepsi Man on this show. Puff puff. I mean, there you go. We'll go with that. Still chuckling about Pepsi Man being the choice. I don't know if we have like a good place for this right now. So we'll send it to a box, and it's not like we won't have any chance for it to be useful. Oh god. I can't... Okay, no, I can absolutely believe that you're coming in here giving me an Uwe Boll reference. That's... You would just come in here and remind me of Uwe Boll and then disappear. Uwe Boll. Don't quite have a good bug for that yet, I don't think. Oh, do you folks remember when Uwe Boll wanted to fight his critics, like, actually? And then he saw that Sean Baby was, like, actually kind of built, and then he was just like, fuck that. Oh, man. What an incredible story. What a strange man. Basically, I think that most of anything that I do on this program kind of boils down to, hey, do you remember the internet over a decade ago, back when existing on it didn't feel like torture? Because... I mean, the internet just isn't very fun anymore now, is it? Like, it's kind of just a mental drain a lot of the time. Anyway, here's our old friend Trubbish, the garbage bag Pokemon. I remember way back when... Oh, that's doing some, like, very funky thing there with the emote. Alan, I'm pretty sure you're trying to post a different emote there than have the oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to point out that, Alan, what it shows in my chat box, not the one on stream, the one in my browser, is that as a response to your comment on Around the Wheel, it shows the @ sign and then that jiggling planet from Big Sky Trooper, and then the Plasty 18 face, which I would assume to be the name of the emote. So it looks like really, really crusted. I do not know why it's doing that, but at the very least, it's not screwing up the chat display on the stream, I guess. I was gonna say, is it just parentheses? That's me. Name it chat. That's That's rude. Most of you are fine. And the one of you who isn't knows who you are. Name it Tev. It's female, though. I mean, no, I was gonna say, since there seems to be an outpouring of support for naming it Chat, I will absolutely just name it Chat, but it's going in lowercase. Because I think that's funnier to me on some level. Folks. Yeah, alright. Thank you, Roundy. Unfortunately, it is time for Joey Joe... that guy to have a bit of a nap. And speaking of a bit of a nap... I don't know where I'm going with that, but I'm walking back to town to heal instead of using the items that I bought, because... I'm like that. Can't wait for it to evolve into Super Chat. Well, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to charge you for evolving this Pokemon, I've been informed, so... that might be a bit of a... I don't completely know where I'm going with this bit. Also, unfortunately, I don't think I can enable Garbodor's Gigantamax form without going into the DLC. So I can't quite turn it into, like, the completely ridiculous version of Garbodor. But it can be regular Garbodor, which is pretty great by itself. What a fantastic Pokemon that, quite frankly... I am very glad that it exists, if nothing else, and the extreme, like, hatred that Garbodor got. Like, okay. I think Garbodor, well, Asterisk and or Trubbish, that the Garbodor line, the Vanilla Ice Cream line, and the Sword Pokemon are the ones that people just love to absolutely lose their minds over, in terms of being like, oh, well, Pokemon is really running out of ideas, you guys. Kind of horse shit. And, like, y'all, did you see some of those Pokemon in Gen 1? Like, a rock, a Pokeball, just a puddle of sewage with a big hand. At bare minimum, I think we should at least say that, like, the idea is pretty good. Say what you will about the execution, because goodness knows that I think say what you will about the execution can probably be said about a large amount of Pokemon, so yeah. Also, yes, putting a giant trash bag Pokemon in the America region, very on the nose, yet not inaccurate. Abso-frickin-lutely. Oh god, yeah, the keys. I think that the keys are kind of like... I get why people are a little bit more frustrated by the keys. It's not because of being like a keyring Pokemon and that being a bad idea. I don't like the way it looks. I don't know about the quality of the execution. Hey, Iron Fury, how's it going? And yeah, Alan, Flamigo, just named Flamingo, but they took out the N, and it's just like a lawn flamingo with a knot tied in the bottom of its neck. It's a very simple creature, but I feel like there's always at least a couple of like overly simple Pokemon in every generation. Like, in terms of birds, you've got Flamigo at the one end of thing, and then on the other end, you've got Espathra, which is a design that they actually put a lot of work into. That one was designed by Hitoshi Ariga, who did quite a lot of other very good designs. He did the Jotaro Panda Bear that I forgot the name of. Oh boy, this is gonna make me look like an idiot. Pangoro, there we go. Ariga did Pangoro. He also did the sword Pokemon, I believe. So yeah, they do at least still have a couple of good designers on there. Wiglet is one that's like... I kind of get the idea of what they were doing with Wiglet with regard to the whole convergent evolution idea. But also, it's sort of an idea that I don't think they used well otherwise. And yeah, Wiglet is very silly. Like, a very humorous sort of thing. The one that I kind of am sort of like about is the Machete Ghosts one. That's like, just make it a regional version. It'll be fine, guys. I'm sure that there's like some very serious nerds who would listen to me say that and be like, nuh-uh, but also, I probably don't have to walk all the way back to... I probably don't have to walk all the way back to the Pokemon Center, to be honest with you, but not for 8 HP and 3 Mud Slaps. Who fucking cares? I do kind of feel a little bit like, yeah, once you have 1,000 Pokemon designs, you are allowed to rest on your laurels once in a while, and also, I think that the other part is just that, like, the average... Keeping a good batting average for that long is not easy. And I think overall, most of Gen 9's designs are actually quite good. Probably one of my favorite generations in a good long while. Overall. Not without fault or anything, but... definitely a pretty good one on the whole batting average. Now, I'll take it over the Gen 4 era. Which I'm sure some people would be insulted by, but I mean, listen, people have very strong opinions about Pokemon stuff in general, so... Truth be told, me expressing any opinion whatsoever... is like, yeah, this is a good way for me to get killed. Basically. Not literally. I hope not literally, but yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's an interesting piece of flavor text attached to the Pokemon. But as for whether or not it's a good design choice, big shrug. Granted, they also only had 3 versions of it in all of Gen 9. And as I said, one of them is very extremely like this could have just been this could have really just been a regional variant, which I discussed earlier. Maybe the other 2 are a little bit further over to the side, but again, that's one that you'll probably have to ask someone who knows things a little better than me for. Yeah, I don't really trust myself to be able to put Flail to great use here. Ice Shard, however, is just a good move. That's nice to have at all times. Because we do love a little bit of priority moves around here. And by a little bit, I mean... yes. The definition of one of the Pokemon games of all time. Well, I gotta say this about Gen 8, and that is that it does actually perform. And since I've been spending so much time, you know, grinding out the last few DLCs of Gen 9 and picking up as much stuff as I can there, that is a thing that is of a reasonable amount of import to me. Because, yeah. The level at which Gen 9 was operating was, Yeah. Yeah, I think all of us have played at least a little bit of Scarlet and or Violet, and we can say that game does not run well, and it has only gotten worse since it was released. I think they were doing like something really stupid with how shit is loaded into memory for Gen 9, if I recall correctly, and that is part of what worsens the performance. Like, it loads the entire region map at once, which is really damn dumb. It could get a little bit framey, to put it nicely, Roundy. And I had some particularly harsh instances of it. Again, especially after I got the DLC. The first DLC performs like absolute bong water. Like, oh my god. Actually, speaking of bong water, Galarian Wheeze... Wait. Yeah, the Terra Raids... Oh, the Terra Raids were not a good design, in my opinion. They had a perfectly working raid battle system, and then they just replaced it. Oh shit, I forgot to name the horse. Well, not horse yet, but we'll nickname it next time we get to a town. Somebody remind me that we gotta nickname Mudbray, because I'm dumb and forgetful. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, this is an era... Once you get past the era of the 3DS, gameplay balance is just kind of... Well, quite frankly, I think that Magic is better balanced, and we know how bad that gets with ban lists. Or did, anyway. Hey, do any of the, like, one Magic players in chat remember Oko? I do, and now I want to hurl now that I've mentioned it. Yeah, I think that there's probably... When it comes to Galarian Darmanitan, I'm kind of befuddled to this idea because, like... Do they not understand that people who are building around choice items are doing something very specific with that, right? Like... Of course, it having an inbuilt choice band is going to be stupidly busted because you're already playing it like that. Yeah, I mean, if it had like an absolute dog shit move pool, like didn't original Darmanitan have kind of an underwhelming move pool? But instead they were just like, hey, yeah, here's a fire ice type, which is already kind of, you know, really sicko shit there, but on top of that, they just give it a very good move pool otherwise. I don't think choice items provide enough of a hindrance as a general rule to most people who play like competitive tier Pokemon. And quite frankly, as a rule, you can just sort of strong arm your way through most of the main game without having to do too much brain usage. So, like, okay, you get this thing out and you click Earthquake and you just win the game, basically. Is that totally necessary? I mean, okay, maybe you want to actually do like Icicle Crash instead, but still, it was a little bit stupid. And they had some quite dumb Pokemon in terms of game balance in Gen 9. In fact, it's kind of such with regard to Gen 9's competitive balance that I admit that I don't keep up with competitive Pokemon that greatly because, like, at some point I think I realized it wasn't quite so much my bag. It's interesting to look at, but actually doing that, that's a very occasional thing for me. But regardless, while I haven't really kept up as well, seeing Espathra get kicked to Ubers and not coming back down yet. Like, I don't think it's even been bumped down to Ubers UU, which is a thing now because, yes, as if it wasn't comical enough that the ban list has a ban list. Now the ban list just has whole ass tiers. Because there's that much going on. Competitive Pokemon is at least very bizarre to talk about, that's for fucking sure. Yeah, I am talking an awful lot about competitive Pokemon for me, like, being like, I don't care that much. I'm doing a real good job of projecting it, ain't I? But, like, yeah, I mean, I still watch Wolf Glick because, yeah, I actually just watched one of his videos earlier today that I hadn't seen before. Like, yeah, competitive Pokemon is not completely uninteresting. It's just, I don't know about actually doing it that much. But yeah, they just absolutely went hog wild with the balance in these recent games. And by hog wild, I mean they just will print whatever. Hey, we got an infinite use escape rope in this game. Oh, you see, that's because our neck is too strong, so wait. Ooh. That's one of those jokes I probably shouldn't be allowed to make, but I mean, listen, I think it will not surprise any of you to hear that I've had some ideation at various points in my life, so I'm using that as my it's okay if I do it credence. Credibility. Babby rope for losers. Oh, that's... To be fair, I think I've used escape ropes like maybe 10 times total in my entire history of playing these games since I was a small child. Okay, Build-A-Brawl, do you have like an actual fighting type move? No! Damn it! You can't just eat up all these Carkles for experience! I guess I'm gonna have to feed Roger more. Actually, no, Gene Hoglan can take care of these. The hell am I talking about? Mud Slap is like 2 damage, but it's enough. Rocket Mighty! Single-use escape ropes until you got Dig. Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, also, back in our day, Dig was actually usable as an attack because it was as strong as Earthquake, dude! Oh, this is going to be a fun fight, and by a fun fight, I mean, it's the battle of the accuracy reductions. Yeah, the Roly-Coly line is pretty decent. I think they're cool. Colossal seems like one of those Pokemon that is a little bit under-respected for some reason. Oh, I get it. All right, so what do we name this thing? I mean, we could call it Roggenrola, but that's already another Pokemon. Swing Vote? Always went with Forge. That's not a bad one. We'll get you on the board here. I say that like there's a scoreboard involved here. Galario Kart. Now I'm looking at my party and it's like, this is tough. I don't know what is going to be my best choice to keep or anything. If I can be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of Boltund. But I do like where a lot of the rest of this is shaping up to be. Oh, this is tough. They're actually giving us good Pokemon to start with. They're giving me good Pokemon this time. Well, the loaf got yeeted, I guess. Yo, yeet it. Why am I acting like people say yeeted anyway anymore? I'm sure the kids have moved on to some new word that I don't understand because, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to face it. I think I'm getting old. Oh, wow! The freeze rates that I've been having here have just been absolutely ludicrous. That Purloin had a very bad time. It's alright, it's not Gen 9, so it can't do funny things with Assist and Revival Blessing. So, for those of you who don't know, this is yet another Gen 9 competitive thing that is monumentally stupid that I am aware of, is that they would have a party with one Pokemon that has Revival Blessing and a bunch of Pokemon with Assist. Usually it would be the Liepard lines. It sure does. A tiny little tail stump that I don't think it retains on evolution. But Swinub is pretty adorable. So this party, and this was used in what I think was National Dex Anything Goes, was the format. So National Dex, as in you can use all Pokemon that had been released up to that point and not just the SV Dex. And Anything Goes. Anything Goes is the format where, well, as it says, anything goes. Like, the only rules that you still have to obey are basically that you cannot establish an infinite battle. Like, I think it doesn't even necessarily have, like, sleep and freeze clause. But it definitely... You are not permitted to do an endless battle. That is considered so dishonorable that it's banned from the ban list to the ban list. And to be fair, I agree with that. That's kind of a dick move. So let's shake this berry tree for a second and see if we can't get ourselves a couple of things and not go so far that we end up summoning a squirrel. Yeah, that'll do for us. TM37 beat up. That's interesting. God, they're giving us access to a lot of dark attacks very early, actually. So, yes, to get back to the point here is that in Anything Goes, you are allowed to have multiple of a single Pokemon. So you could have, for example, a team that's 5 Liepards and, like, Bramblegast. Which I'm only mentioning because one of my friends laughs about it every time due to a trophy thing. So, in this anything go, the point here is that you would want Liepard because it can have the ability Prankster, which lets it use status moves before other non-dark type Pokemon. And you would use that combined with the move Assist, and every other Pokemon in your party would all be moves that cannot be called by Assist, except for Revival Blessing. So you would just do things that did a little bit of damage but couldn't be called by Assist in order to make a little bit of progress, let your Pokemon die, switch into Cat, Revival Blessing. And then you just keep doing it over and over because you can revive like 140 times or something. Don't know why some messages aren't sending. It's probably just a little bit of like tech jank because it's not showing me flags of like anything is getting caught by. It's probably just Twitch being on Amazon's most cardboardiest of servers. So, yes, a big part of why this particular build was a thing that people were doing in NatDex Anything Goes for Gen 9 is basically because Assist was not in Gen 9, so they didn't really have a chance to do anything with this, but apparently on like the tech level, there are like obviously flags in the moves and stuff that prevent them from being called by Assist and stuff like that. And Revival Blessing is apparently flagged that it can be called by Assist. So this apparently would be viable if Assist was even in the game. But yeah, so this was this very ridiculous thing that I'm pretty sure that what happened was that no action was taken because, again, remember, we're talking about ban list from the ban list here. So I don't think that Smog wanted to make an Anything Goes V2, right? So this basically kind of made NatDex Anything Goes die as a format because it was something that nobody wanted to play against because it wasn't fun. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Removing Pursuit as a move in Gen 8, well, that brought a lot of Pokemon back from being like very bad, but also that's kind of a bit of an issue from a balancing perspective because that was a big thing that was keeping, for example, every ghost type at least somewhat in check. Because the ghost type had already been getting stronger as a result of the fact that ghost moves got buffed in Gen 6. And also, ghost types were sort of buffed by being unable to be trapped in Gen 6, but I don't know how great of an effect that had on any of the metagame. Because, like, how many trap moves are that widely used in the metagame outside of, like, gimmick builds? I mean, I guess if you're playing Dhelmise, you have Anchor Shot, but, like, I think Dhelmise is considered to be too slow for most of the formats. That people would just be like, you know, that's cute, but it's yet another Ghost Grass that moves at the speed of no. So that's probably not, like, a huge deal, but the fact that Steel no longer resists Ghost was a very, very big buff for the ghost type. So that meant that taking away something like Pursuit, which would be super effective against ghosts or, you know, neutral at worst, did some pretty positive things for a type that was already massively on the upswing. So that's a bit of, yeah, not super great. Oh, hey, look, it's Delivered. This is a Pokemon that exists. Why Steel isn't weak to water? That's a very good question, Mega Man, but water resists Steel? That's like halfway there. Yeah, Steel not being strong against grass hits one of those moments where it's like, oh, big asterisk, it's not necessarily inherently sharp things, but like, they've used tortured logic for enough things before that I think that that is almost tortured logic in and of itself too, but I digress. Does this NPC have anything to say other than just that you can camp and cook? Take that cherry berry, why not? Iron Bundle, yeah, they definitely, they called it that instead of various other things. What did I call it one time when I was like, I can't remember what the hell it's called? Iron Satchel or something? Yeah. I would say something goofy like Iron Satchel. This is a great Simpsons meme about Iron Bundle. I would love to get a look at this because, yes. Wants to learn Tearful Look. I don't even remember what this is. Can we at least read the effect? Lowers the target's attack and special attack stats. So basically, it's kind of like Noble Roar, but the cute version. The Christmas Terminator. Yeah, I think that we're probably all in agreement on this one in particular, but I do find it extremely funny that they made Paradox Delivered, and it's one of the most disgustingly powerful things in the new generation. And that's really saying quite a lot in a generation where Annihilate exists, right? Just what a severely unhinged set of Pokemon that exists in Gen 9. Without Terra, it's just pretty good. Kind of like Regieleki, really. Right? Because Regieleki is one of those Pokemon that's like, that's decent. 200 speed stat looks like something that you can commit war crimes with. And they were just waiting for somebody to invent the nuclear bomb, right? And in this case, Terra is the nuclear bomb. I mean, depending on how they wrote things, I would not be surprised if they could have just, like, bent terrestrial power into being nuclear energy, basically. Kind of like what they were doing on some level with Dynamax power in this game's plot. But I mean, how much are any of us going to be paying attention to the plot of a Pokemon game? And the answer is, well, I'm the sort of person who pays a lot of attention to plots in most video games, so, Oh god, yeah, that's just thermonuclear missile time. Ooh, boy. Hey, where'd that cool robot Delivered come from? The future. Except over there, they call him Iron Bundle, and he lives in a crater. They really did have, like, a lot of just, like, very literal names to those Paradox Pokemon. Nobody thought to give it anything. The thing that bumps me out a little bit about the Paradox Pokemon is that all the future ones are all named like Iron something or other. I mean, I guess you are kind of restricted by length limitations to not be able to do some of them. It's very much a choice to name the Hydreigon one Iron Jugulus, though. I mean, Jugulus is like approaching an actual word, and you can kind of understand that it's supposed to be like, you know, like jugular, like throat, like oh god, don't choke yourself on stream, you fucking idiot. Oh god, I'm sorry. I actually started trying to hurt myself. Anyway, so yeah, I think they could have just named it like Iron Throat or Iron Neck or something. I know Iron Head, which was the Japanese name, is out because there's already a move called Iron Head, and you know, localization, right? It's a fun job. that I'm surprised anybody ever takes up when you see how people act about it. But Iron Throat sounds good. Well, I mean, would that be like the first moment of thirst that we had in Gen 9? Absolutely not. Never mind that, like, a lot of Iron Esophagus. I like that. I think that's a little bit out of regulation due to length, but it's pretty good. Let's get healed up before we go into this coal mine. You're on. Oh, okay, sir. There are jokes I can make there. I mean, wait. Yeah, there are actually. Yeah, okay, somebody else got it to me. Iron Lung based on Blissey. That's worth a good chuckle. But yeah, the past Paradox Pokemon are probably overall a little bit more interesting than the future ones. They had some more ideas with a lot of them. I like the fact that they were focusing more heavily on Pokemon that were not fully evolved. Iron Maiden, that's pretty good. Rest in peace, Paul Diano, even though that was a couple months ago. Excuse my pronunciation. Oh, Great Tusk is fantastic. I love my big goofy dinosaur elephant. I mean, I already kind of love the Donphan family, so it's just like, hey, yeah, give me more of these for no good reason. It works for me. But in terms of the past Paradox Pokemon, like, I love the fact that Slitherwing, I think it is far more based on Larvesta. And then they had Sandy Shocks, which is based on Magneton. No, Roundy, do not worry. But yeah, I mean, I think that probably the best part of Sandy Shocks is if you have ever seen its goofy walk cycle. That thing is an excellent creature. Like, just I was so shocked when I saw it. When I saw it walking around. Just because it was like all springy and goofy looking. I guess I don't know what I expected it to do, but it probably would have been that. I just still wasn't expecting it when I saw it. But A+ Pokemon, no notes. Except, I guess, maybe have made it, like, more powerful. I don't know. Look at that absolute goofball. We saw Drillbur in here earlier, but it vanished immediately, which does make me sad. Sandy Shocks is kind of in this interesting place from a perspective of usability, because mentally I'm like, wait, isn't it kind of one of those Pokemon that's a little bit like balanced between its special attack and speed, or am I crazy? Oh, well, hey, I guess at least it's doing all right for itself. It gets to hang out with Quaquaval, which is a pretty good Pokemon. It's much nicer than any of the cave designs in 9. It does help that these are, like, enclosed locations, as opposed to just being like, okay, yeah, we had to cut holes in this overworld mountain. We had to give you opportunities to do Skyrim platforming. Well, hey, neat. I'm glad it gets work, you know? Like, I love to see my favorite Pokemon succeed, even if it's like, hey, I'm not about to be the one who helps you get there in competitive Pokemon, because, you know, not usually a thing that I'm that into. Yeah. Yeah, Quaquaval is, like, absolutely really sick. I've seen it do some good stuff just in-game. It gets Moxie as a hidden ability. It has an attack that boosts its speed while doing damage. You saw someone call Quaquaval cunty the other day. You know what? I mean, I believe I saw that recently too. And also, fair enough. Toxic spikes, that's not really a thing that I use in-game. So, apologies, chat. You're not going to get to be more toxic with spikes. Now, Rock Polish, if I have a really bad status move, I'll take Rock Polish over that. Yeah, Quaquaval seems like the real version of... God, there was some other Pokemon when Moxie first was an ability that was revealed that I think people were like, oh yeah, this is going to be the stupid effing thing that you want to get crazy ass kill chains with. I'd have to look it up. It was not Salamence, even though Salamence is, like, I think kind of the one now. It might have been like Heracross or something. This is back in Gen 5, but yeah, and basically Quaquaval has sort of turned into, I think, very much the real version of that. It has a stupid special move, you know? Like, that Aqua Step is just, you're kidding me, right? That's monstrous. Earlier this week, there was a special Terra raid for Quaquaval in the in Scarlet Violet, which I think that might have been the one that my friend and I got through the fastest. Of course, part of that is also offset by the fact that I was in bed for most of the time when Skeledirge was up, because I had that stomach illness starting on the Sunday, and it took us a while for it to get it. Come on, let me get the mole. You're standing in my way of getting the damn mole. Wait, please. I just want Drillbur. It's a good Pokemon. That's an interesting choice to see, because mentally I'm like, I don't really think of Arboliva as being that much of a fighter. Although it's got stats. I mean, it can hit. I think part of that is due to having seen the thing show up in, like, all the Terra raids and just being like, yeah, it's just a support Pokemon. That's the thing that gives you grass terrain, and it ends up becoming a problem a lot of the time, actually. But yeah, so I think the Quaquaval one was probably the one that we did the quickest, but it was definitely the one that felt like you kind of had to do the most work for it. And it took my friend Tav, i.e. Epionics, and me, it took us a couple of tries to get there with 2 Slowbros. Mostly because of, like, syncing things up. Because you have to steal its ability right off the bat, otherwise it just boosts to stupid levels. So yeah, there's some fun stuff for us, and I am going to just chuck balls now and try to catch old Wilbur here. Oh, that was nice and fast, thank goodness. Usually I feel like Drillbur is one of those Pokemon that is a bit of butt to catch unless you have a Great Ball or higher for it. And I got that with a regular Pokeball, so hey. Yes, this was our new mole Pokemon for Gen 5 to replace the temporarily unavailable Diglett. And Excadrill turned out to be an absolute monster. Name it Drill. I appreciate that. Just Drill. So, we'll definitely use this, but I think it's probably going to end up being temporarily boxed to come out later. Just because my party is very stacked right now. And it's like, what do I want to get rid of? And the answer is, I kind of don't. Because obviously, like, what kind of sicko drops the starter, right? And then you've got Corvisquire, who we want to keep at all times just by virtue of being, you know, going to turn into a good Pokemon. Gene Hoglin is at least going to carry us through that first gym because ice attacks are going to be good against the plants. And the same thing goes for Forge. Build-A-Brawl, I just like this Pokemon a lot. And Chat also. So... And another thing, please don't say on the Holocaster that I got mad. Nice. Oh, hey, check that out. There's a Carkol. Can we run up to that thing? I want to fight it. Give me your experience money. Nah, darn. Oh, well. Because I bet it would probably be worth something. Conkeldurr is basically Scott Steiner. Can we get it like a chainmail Quaff in the future? Like that's it. That's Mega Conkeldurr. We just give it some chainmail. And it just goes into like math as its cry. It would have to be a short version of it, but you know what? I think I kind of appreciate that. It's just a... There's a good point in favor of Conkeldurr, right? It reminds a member of the crew here of Scott Steiner, so... Chainmail, sunglasses, and a goatee. It's literally Scott Steiner. Yes! Yeah, I was hoping that we'd get a couple more pixels before we end up in this fight. Because I want to fight that Carkol and see if it's worth any sort of experience. But I don't think it's spawning again. Oh well. Hey Tab, do you remember that time you got ran over by one of those things in this very part of the game? Because you've mentioned it before, so... I kind of have this feeling that Bede talks in... like the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog from the early 2000s. Oh my god, Iron Fury is doing... He's doing it. It's 3 question marks. It looks a little different than he did in Pokemon Gold and Silver. Yeah? Also starting with Solosis. That's a decent Pokemon. It gets the Magic Guard ability as one of its options, I think. I think it's Magic Guard and not Magic Bounce. I'm going to say with a reasonable amount of confidence that it's Magic Guard. And if I'm wrong, then I look like a fool, but that is quite normal at this point. But yeah, evolves into Reuniclus, which I think Reuniclus is a special attacker, but always kind of looks like it should be able to punch. a lot. I'll have to double check that. In fact, I have a tab open so I can do that in between. Yeah, Reuniclus is a special attacker. It's got a chunk of HP on it. It has like no speed though, but oh well. Reuniclus, or apparently I've been informed that the actual pronunciation is supposed to be officially Reuniclus, and I dislike that immensely. Bede is a guy, but very ambiguous. That is certainly a true statement. Actually, with like a big bulky coat like that, that does kind of look like it should be obscuring the chest a little bit. Is Bede supposed to be like a trans boy? Like, is that what's... I don't think Game Freak are necessarily thinking that much about such matters, but it's one of those I could see it sort of things, right? But send out Hatena, which, once again, my options for dark damage are kind of in the very dangerous to put to use sort of area, because fella is using just psychic Pokemon, and my only dark attacks are on a normal fighting type right now, so now it seems like a pretty good time to... Oh wait, no, Corvid-19 has got Power Trip, which isn't very much damage right now. I guess I could throw a couple of Hone Claws and then go for it. That's 2 stat stages each. Power Trip basically being dark type stored power, right? Yeah, it has to be that. They wouldn't be giving me Foul Play this early, and that's a move that's called Foul Play already. Yeah, that'll do some pretty good work. Okay, so how far up do we actually have to go to get to Turf Field? Yeah, Turf Field, and it's in Britain. Fantasy Britain. Make a joke, because, yeah. Something about a thing that the British culture has a problem with. Very, very easy to... And to be fair, I love the easy jokes anyway. Let's shake this tree twice and hope that that's a good enough gamble to get us a couple of berries without suddenly getting crab-rollered. Yeah, that's more than enough. That's like a bunch of paralyzed heals, really. And I guess antidotes, because... Ooh, Pumpkaboos. These are... I don't want to say that Pumpkaboo is, like, necessarily a super good Pokemon, but I like it a lot. I feel like I like pretty much every grass ghost type a huge amount. Yes, exactly. Roundy. There you go. You got it. Oh, he's on to me. Yeah, because our grass ghosts, we've got Pumpkaboo and Gourgeist. We've got... Oh, wait, no, those T Pokemon are grass ghosts, too, and I was complaining about those earlier. So, alright, aside from those, I mean, I guess I'd have to go through at some point and be like, do I like this Pokemon or dislike this Pokemon for, like, everything in order to be like, oh, yeah, that's the type combination that I have the, you know, most positive feelings to that's not just a unique one. Ooh, we got the rather... the old dirtball Meowth here. Diseased Meowth. Hey, that's... I'd say that's rude, but that's accurate. Credence, how's it going, buddy? You're up late, I guess? Asterisk? It's like the same time there that it is for me, which is... right? Because... You're a Midwesterner also, I think. Counting Oklahoma in the Midwest. Because you were around where Plastic Allen lived in the flesh and unfortunately did not get a chance to give him that copy of Boogie. Oh well. Things happen. Well, all I can say about that, Credence, is get to it before they completely annihilate the Postal Service. I'm not feeling completely confident in a regular Pokeball right now, but I also am worried that I would kill this thing. So I'm going to Great Ball, and we're going to catch ourselves a rather unwashed cat. Its body is protected from all the dirt. You can really understand how your students feel on Monday. Oh, yeah. Good point. Its body is the dirt. Living with a savage seafaring people is toughened this Pokemon's body so much that parts of it have turned to iron. I'm sure that's exactly how that works. And it's got like this weird skin flap for a beard. I think it's just because they're not going to put so much effort into making that like all, individual tufts or anything. But it probably could have done with a couple more lines on the texture because as it is, otherwise I'm just thinking about it having like this weird floppy distended chin. That's a little bit on the funky side. Now, hang on just a second while I can get a nickname for this. I just have to remember what we're going with here. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I can do too many, like, special characters in here for any of these like more Icelandic names. If I wanted to be like a huge fucking goofball. And I mean, why not, right? We could go hard on some of, you know, some of this, because why not? You know what? I got something. We got a female rust cat. Rust cat. I mean, not quite. Gunhildur. My pronunciation is absolutely abysmal, and unfortunately, once again, you're going to be a coming in later. That's right. Unfortunately, I basically don't play FF14 anymore. Otherwise, this would be a sick reference to the Gunbreaker cat. I think was actually the name of the one who gives you the Gunbreaker job. Astra is about as basic bitch and Nordic as possible. Well, thank you for the future advice for whenever I name another one, I guess. Although I do like Watts. Watts is a pretty good nickname. Credenza, oh, you're a math teacher. I forgot that you were. I will be completely honest. I did not remember 100% that you were a teacher. I remember that you worked at a school. Because I have a memory of not very good. You know? I forget things quite a lot. Get your Pokemon vehicle, you can name it card games. Unfortunately, we can't nickname our Rotom bike, but I do admire the sentiment behind it. So I think, unfortunately, that I'm going to have to skip out on Pumpkaboo just because I don't really know that I can justify it too much in the long run. Like, oh yeah, I'd be able to use it to fight Nessa and her overgrown Choodle, but that's about it. Due to certain things about your location, you're short on teachers. When you say certain things about your location, what proportion of that has to do with the fact that you're in Oklahoma? You know, with some apologies, like, I don't really trust the Oklahoman education system to necessarily be all that quality. Yeah, I'll catch a pumpkin. All of it, the whole proportion. Oh boy. My sincere apologies. Maybe Alan will have some room in his crawl space for you to hang out. Assuming that he would still want you around after you send him a copy of Boogie. No, I've got a feeling that would probably be a little bit rough, yeah. God, I sound like I'm so, just, you know. I worry that I sound like I don't care very much, but I absolutely do. Seriously, I want people to be in conditions that suck less. Anyway, we got ourselves a Pumpkaboo. Oh, right, I would need somebody to help me trade that. Well, I can harangue somebody into doing that for me, so. Spent all the education money. Oh, man. The thing is, okay, Roundy, I hate that I can't tell if you're joking or not, because that's the condition of the world that we live in. We're all dogs in God's hot car. Oh, man. Oh, that's... Yeah, pretty much. Posted Conkeldurr. Nice. I mean, yeah, Irene, I was thinking of just going with Jack just to keep it short, but I was like, can I come up with something a little bit funnier, but not quite? So I think we're just going with Jack. No Jacko for this one, because... I mean... I could still do that, but... We'll just go with Jack. Keep it nice and simple. Head to party. Wait, no, not yet. We can just stock that in a box for now. Come back to it later. The dirt cat is following me. Probably thinks I smell like ham or something. Based on Billy Corben. No, come on, it's not bald. I'm pretty sure Billy Corgan is bald. Although, I mean, again, it wouldn't be the first, like... It wouldn't be the first musical joke that I've made in... No, Irene, he's referring to, like, he altered Conkeldurr to look like the wrestler Scott Steiner. Not the guy from FF9, even though I definitely made a couple of Scott Steiner jokes about him. But... Anyway, yeah, no, I probably could have named the pumpkin Billy Corgan and it would fit right in with Gene Hoglan. No, not the Waka of FF9, unfortunately. No gags with that one yet. Although FF9 Steiner does kind of hit hard enough that he would have a fair right to explain to somebody that the numbers don't lie and they spell disaster for them at Sacrifice. It's like the one thing he's good at is punching people really hard. Does Eevee spawn in that area, Credenza? It's a distinct possibility, but... that might be something I come back for later as like, hey, I really need something that can fit just about any role in my party. Because, yeah, Eevee is like a very much a super duper flex slot, but I would have to have access to more evolution stones. Otherwise, it's like, oh, yeah, that'll accidentally turn into Umbreon. We sure do, Critens. We definitely have some existing IRL Wakas. They're out there. And a lot of them are also quite bad at sports, but I digress. Oh, is there a little glittery thing there that I missed? Did I rename the horse yet? No, because I haven't gotten to a town yet. But I will when I get there. Do you have a nickname to name it other than Butt? It sure is. There's also trainers out here as well that I'm still able to fight. We got a dog. We've got a thing that Electrike is. There's another trainer over here with a TM. Oh, the horse is right now a donkey that evolves into like a full-on Clydesdale horse. I'll show that off in a moment. If only the shiny was pink. Yes, we're sending our water type right into it. Well, it's a level 15 electric type. It'll be fine. I don't remember offhand. Named your Mudsdale Big Haunts. I mean, that's That's pretty good. I think the last time I had a... Yeah, it had to have been the last time I had a Mudsdale, but I nicknamed it No Name. So that way it could be a horse with no name. This isn't a very good bit. Anyway, I did name it that, though, so calling it a bit might be considered a bit of a stretch. Anyway. Did I go through the... There was certainly a desert in Gen 9, so yes, it was... Hoss. There you go. Okay. You and me, Hoss. Yeah, I haven't raised a Pokemon for 50 years yet either, sir. This franchise is only like 25 years old. And they celebrated that milestone with Post Malone of all things. And that 25th anniversary Pokemon album was such a strange thing, and I don't even know that much about it. Forge wants to learn the move Flame Charge. Ooh, that is pretty good. I think I'll dump Tackle for that because Rock Polish at least still has uses, right? Yeah. Rapid Spin is stronger than Tackle, which is kind of silly to me, actually. Anyhow, I'll deal with the other trainers out here in a... Oh, who keeps losing their sheep? Hop, did you done fucked up again? No, never mind. It wouldn't be the first time we've been rolled into by a sheep ball. Anyway, this is Milo. He looks rather silly. Like, his facial expression looks like... not right, you know? Like, it looks like it was drawn on afterwards, I think. And yeah, we basically are just covered in speed boosts for Carkol. That's kind of wild how that ended up happening. Oh, do I have to get into another cutscene with you again? Yeah, there we go. That's right. This thing. This looks like... It looks kind of like that weird thing that they built on top of Soldier Field like 20 years ago. He's definitely a big country bumpkin who doesn't know anything about life outside the farm. Yeah, pretty much. That's a good description for what Milo looks like. And his attitude, if I remember correctly. Now... let's have a look at what's going on in here. What do we got? Oh yeah, we got a horse that we want to nickname. And a Choodle down there because that thing is never getting used. Alright, Build a Brawl, you sit in there. You know what? You're not getting used either, Magikarp. You're going all the way down at the bottom of the list. For now. He probably really likes the... I will hug you and pet you and I will hug you and squeeze you and pet you and feed you. I'm sorry, I fucked up the reference really bad. Absolutely just talks like the... Oh, I didn't even need this thing in the party. Whoops. Oops. So yeah... Big Haunts is pretty funny, but so is Hoss. I think because Credence is like new in this one, I gotta give him a little bit of priority on this one just for Big Haunts. And to be fair, I always find Haunts very funny too, so just we'll do that, and we'll have ourselves a moderately sized Haunts at some point. Possibly for gym number 3. Although, whenever I think about that, I think about Kabu, and the main thing I think is he's got the Fire Bug. And that's his main Pokemon that I'm aware of offhand. He's probably got some other things that are also of note, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Don't be ridiculous. There's a lot of things I can't remember. So, yeah. Yeah, I figured that Colossal should end up being kind of a champ once we start getting some more levels into our fella there. We got Diglets. I already mentioned Diglets earlier, but we got Diglets. I do love me some Diglett, but I think that if we're going to go for like a mainline ground type attacker, if Gene Hoglan gets cycled out and we keep some sort of ground type fighter, it's got to be Excadrill, right? Like, Excadrill is an absolute beast of a Pokemon. In fact, I think that Excadrill was probably like one of the very earliest instances that I can think of where there was like a lot of people who saw that thing for a Pokemon that's, again, not a legendary, and they were like, oh, that's absolutely disgusting. I remember there being a lot of people in the very early era of Gen 5 competitive who were like, this thing is too stupid. I don't think that stuck, but there was at least a little bit of that. I mean, granted, that was also the era for weather. And you give something with those stats access to Sand Rush. Yes, pardon me. I was like, what the hell is it called? Sand Speed? But yeah, it has 135 base attack, which is on par with a lot of the real Grossbergs of the, like, pseudo-legendaries. There we go. That's a point higher than Dragonite, dude. And yeah, like early Gen 5, everybody saw that and they were like, okay, yeah, 88 speed with Sand Rush. You just put that thing on a Sandstorm team. I think people were calling for it to be banned, actually, back in Gen 5. I mean, nowadays it's probably considered a little more modest because power creep in Pokemon has gotten kind of silly. But yeah, back in the day, what an absolutely disgusting critter. Like, whoa. Nice. You used to name your Excadrill Sad But True. Always came out after Tyranitar enters Sandman. That's pretty good. I appreciate that one. Sad But True probably being like one of my favorite Metallica songs. Not necessarily my absolute most or anything, but pretty up there. Very good. Very good. Very good. Hey, wow, Pumpkaboo got frozen. This freeze rate is... I've been seeing a ton of freeze off of Gene Hoglan here. Like, just a wild amount of it all considered. Again, remember, Powder Snow only has a 10% chance to freeze. It is a Pokemon move that can freeze, after all. The only other thing that gets higher is Secret Power in very specific locations that are not really good places for freeze because usually it's more Ice-type Pokemon anyway. Nice. Very nice. let's get in here. We can deal with the cat with some flame charge. Hope there weren't too many water bottle noises there. Which I'm sure everybody was like hearing me go. But also, hey, neat. Dirt Cat already has payday, so we can get a little bit of easy cash out of that. If we were to fight some more of those guys. Granted, like, how much money do I ever even use? I still have like 20 grand right now. I buy items very rarely, and I use them even less. Catch the Eevee tab. That's a child in a suit that is for some reason not using an Eevee despite wearing like a goofy little Eevee Halloween costume. And only has the one Pokemon, so it's not like I can go, oh yeah, it'll show up later. No, this small child just has a Milcery. Which, now that I think about it, oh yeah, Milcery is definitely much more specially resistant than physical. Tab, that's just like... Isn't that just Gatsa after he fell in some dirt? Guy that we know, who plays a Lalafell in FF14 with a Carbuncle theme. Oh, I don't know much about chinchillas, so that's... That Diglett did quite a spin there. That's... I don't know if it has any sort of, like... Do you guys think Diglett has anything under there? I remember... This is a thing that Tav and I reference quite often. Of, like, one of the designers responding to what's underneath Diglett as being like, I don't know, a hand? So, yeah, that's some pretty good movement out of your hand, but, I mean, I've definitely seen the fan art of, well, the thing that a lot of us know about, and you're... Oh, I think that's a... I was like, is that an icon of a shiny Gardevoir? Because I couldn't quite see via the small resolution, and me being a little bit far from the screen. Start pounding, Joker. Wait. Oh, that's something else, sorry. Before we go and round this route out, though, I do have something I would like to do. And I think we all kind of know what it is. But, oh, it is? Because I did the hover over it, and I'm like... Wait, that looks like... I thought it was... My second thought was it was one of the My Little Pony characters. Granted, I don't know exactly what all the My Little Ponies look like or anything, but... I could swear one of them is like a pale blue and has a blue hair things. I almost said mohawk. That's not a mohawk at all. But it's also not a mullet, which is much closer to what I was saying. Okay, see, you guys know stuff like this. I'm only vaguely aware. And I'm not trying to sound cool or anything. I already know that I'm like the least cool person in here, so none of that is of any real import to me. Wow, this invisible note. Okay. Anyway, I came over here because this guy owes me money. Onyx, I have come to bargain. And by bargain, I mean... Oh, damn, it lived. Oh, it's dirty. Yeah, of course it did. Never mind. Dragon Breath, huh? That's an interesting thing to whip at it a moment's notice. That's our first dragon type attack in the game, and it's before the first gym. You know, you could have resisted that if you used that Swirlix. Shut up. But you're right. Anyway, Sludge. I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't actually seem that useful on Trubbish because we have Acid Spray already. Which, I mean, okay, Sludge is a good chunk more powerful. But I think by the time we drop 3 Acid Sprays, it's not gonna matter too much, right? That Recycle is not gonna be a thing that we put to great effect, so meh. Get that out of here. That's right, we all forgot how to recycle. None of us remembers what to do with our plastic bottles or whatever. It's okay, that stuff doesn't really stay in terms of quality after too many cycles, so... It's not like aluminum, which is extremely recyclable. Alright, 2 shakes. Good enough for me. Couple Oran berries, a Pecha berry. Good enough. Yeah, I'm only going to 2 shakes each because that should be enough to make sure that we don't get got. Oh, hey, that's a butt free. I think we can probably go into the Pokedex when I mean to go into the Pokemon menu. We've got to be able to fight that thing, right? Like, how badly can it murder us? Huh? Get over here! Oh, it wants none of... Wow! I get it, dude, but like, damn it. It had extra watts! Oh, what just spawned it? Oh, it's a... Ew. Ew! I don't like that thing. Screw it, let's go back to Turf Field. We still got a couple of trainers to fight over here. Mostly over on this side of town. And by town, I mean... rock pile. And yep, here's another random Eevee kid. I think Ice Shard is probably our slightly better move choice here. Not just for the priority, but... like, the damage should be slightly higher. And, okay, we can't freeze with it, but I think we'll be okay. How many times can 10% happen anyway, right? Like, we gotta hit a dry spot at some point. Yeah? Yeah. Well, 10% of the time, it works every time. Yeah. This kid is just always cheerful, no matter what. Oh, you silly dirt cat. We already have one of those. Voltund. I'm sorry, I'm browsing the area to see if there's other stuff, guys. Well, I guess there's a sheep. Well, that's a lot of freezing that is getting done here. All right, then. Well, good work. Ooh, TM7 pin missile. I have a feeling that that is not something we can use on any of our Pokemon, but it would probably be useful if we could. Yeah, can we pin missile? Nobody can learn pin missile. Yeah, I didn't think so. Swinub can learn Scary Face. Yeah, sure it can. It really looks the part. Yeah. Whatever you say, game. Alright, sort those by number. Because otherwise I'll be annoyed. Yeah, you're pretty talkative, buddy. Joltik. Joltik is pretty cute for a goofy little spider thing. And then it evolves into Galvantula and gets really big. What if it was just like several Joltiks in a trench coat instead? That would be very silly, but as are a lot of things that I've said here, so yeah. But send in Grubbin. I'm surprised that you don't have a Pikachu, kiddo. Was it just not in the budget this year? Or something? There was literally a Pikachu right over in that field if you want one. Meanwhile, that Grubbin does not really impress too much. Well, kid, if you can go catch a Pikachu in one of these little side fields. It's just so excited. It's kind of endearing. Like, my feelings about Pikachu are kind of like, it's a little overexposed. I've seen better Pokemon, but that one's acting kind of cute. Ah, yes, Milcery. Oh, boy. I remember this cake, and it's like 800 different forms. Ah, boo. We'll probably be fine. Possible. Never mind. Alright, now just don't kill me. That's using Aromatic Mist, which is a status move that I forget what it is. It's not Sweet Scent. Gene Hoglin wants to learn Mist. I just want to see what this does again. Prevents any of its stats from being lowered for 5 turns. Yeah, I don't really need that. I'm not in VGC. That's probably not even that widely used in singles. Don't be ridiculous. Or do. I'm not your boss. Alright, let's go follow this goofy dog. Find out what's the deal. It's a fairly unique model. Do you have anything special to say, person? Not really. Got some X attacks. Thing I'm probably never going to use. Hey, a Leaf Stone. Well, we could get a very early Leafeon if we wanted it. Yeah, this etching into a hill where the grass hasn't grown over. Cool, we got more baseball cards. Yay, we got some revives. Not mentioned is the ability to use ice or poison type moves to great effect, but I guess they're probably not expecting you to have a whole lot of ice options at this point. Poison, however, I mean, there'd at least be some possibility there. 30 HP off of fresh water in this game. I thought it was 50 in another game, like not too far back from where this one was, but I could be wrong. Anyone over here got anything interesting going on? Well, there's a free item here. It's a Max Revive. We probably won't need that, but hey, who am I to complain about a free Max Revive that I had to put, like, minimal effort into? Oh, wow, you got in there pretty fast. And he's sort of soft revealing that every gym here has a special challenge. Ball guy. What do you got for me? You got a friend ball. Ooh. Hey, can you, like, move that up to my copy of Scarlet Violet for me? Because I've been trying to catch Pokemon mostly in, like, more aesthetically fitting Pokeballs in that. And the Apricorn balls are rarer than hen's teeth in that game, just like they are in everything that's not Gold, Silver, or their remakes, or Crystal. And there's a lot of things for which the friend ball actually really fits. Anyway, we got a gift shop over here. What do you got for sale? Oh, it's regular Pokemon things. That makes sense. Yeah, I've heard that, and I've seen some people who have, like, exploits set up for it using basically various type of time travel. Kind of like you would with Animal Crossing a little bit, except more for, like, getting seeds because it's clock seeded. I suck at doing things like that. And also, I haven't fully upgraded the item printer yet. Anyway, hey, Tav, you big nerd. Have you tried doing that thing that we saw online? It's fine if you haven't. I just wanted a Premier Ball from that guy, so... yeah. Alright. Hey, yeah, uniforms. Right. These are expensive, but... let's take a look at what we're rocking here in terms of some of the fashions. These are actually, like, not half bad. I do like the designs on these. I'm probably going to end up grabbing the Ghost uniform, which looks like it says Obey on the front a little bit, almost. Aside from the B being replaced with a turn A, but yeah. Oh, if it's that easy, then maybe it won't be so bad. Because we got this kind of psychedelic spiral on the Psychic uniform. That's pretty fancy. I like that. Electric uniforms, what you'd think. Ground uniform with some dirt camouflage. And a cube, for those of you who like Minecraft. Yeah, flying, unsurprisingly, very clouds. Clouds? Normal. And poison. Oh yeah, poison looks like that freak that we saw at the train station. Ew. I'm putting this thing on. Shells out half of my money for things that are all that matter for me. The character customization. Alright. What do we gotta do? Yeah, tell me about what our deal here is. Each gym mission. Yes, in this game. So, every single Pokemon game, basically, since Gen 7 going forwards, they've been trying to make the flow of the gyms be a little bit more, like, creative. Because I guess maybe they think people are a little tired of how they worked, which, no. I still like the classic design of how Pokemon gyms work. I don't necessarily need all this minigame stuff in them or anything. But it's like, it's interesting once or twice, but hey, we are 3 gens in. I'm ready for Gen 10 to just go back to a standard, like, dungeon sort of thing, right? Okay, so it did properly auto-equip us with our... No, it did not. Oh, well. Well, then, I guess we'll be in our Ghost outfit for the next gym. On the other hand, this sort of thing does fit very heavily with Gen 8's, like, sports theming, so... fair play there, I guess, right? That's not unacceptable. It works. But yeah, I'm just kind of an old head, so... yeah. Alright, will you tell me how to hold the controller? Ooh, your entire to-do there is looking pretty silly. Dan? Oh, alright. Yep, just start hurting the sheepies. We'll take that as a new one there, Credence. We've had people mention before that obviously reminds of Age of Empires. Some King of the Hill references too. Oh, hey, you get back into line, buddy. There you go. No slacking on the job, Chucklehead. As they just do the goofy cartoon punch sound effect. I kind of appreciate that on a certain level. Wooloo is like just a good design overall, as being like, here's our funny, adorable sheep. My favorite Gen 8 Pokemon is a very good question. I don't know off the top of my head. Excuse me. I can tell you what it's not, though, and that's Runerigus. Runerigus kind of pisses me off a little bit. For a couple of reasons. And one of them starts with it being ground instead of rock, but also that it was... I think Runerigus was probably, like, the first of the Pokemon that they were getting a little bit too arcane with some of the evolution requirements. And eventually that led to Basculegion and John Romero and a couple of others that I think were a little bit silly. So that thing just kind of upsets me on principle. Also, I am not a huge fan of its design. My favorite Gen 8, I'm still a little bit unsure. The one that makes me the saddest is Grapploct. Grapploct is a pretty good design, and it has a really cool special move in the form of Octolock, which is based on the Octopus Hold, which is a really, really baller wrestling thing. Like, somebody who does that, that's kind of incredible. Unfortunately, Grapploct is basically unusable. It is kind of awful, and you get it so late on that it's like, ugh. Maybe the hat Pokemon are, like, at the top there. Although it does sort of make me go, huh? That the fully evolved hat Pokemon, its Pokedex is like, oh yeah, it beats the shit out of people who cause it problems due to, like, strong emotions, and it is not physically oriented at all. Like, shouldn't something that has this much of a reputation for physically beating the crap out of people be, like, doing more punch damage? Anyway. Gen 8 Pokemon technically do include Ursaluna, I suppose, and the original Ursaluna, not the Blood Moon Ursaluna. The Blood Moon Ursaluna just kind of looks like what you would expect a big legendary Pokemon bear thing to look like. But I do appreciate the original Ursaluna because it looks kind of silly. Like, it definitely does not look anywhere near as vicious as you would think something that's like this big super bear to look like. But I digress. Like, it looks like it's... It never really looks like super, like, Rage Bear. Not in the same way that Blood Moon Ursaluna does, but... Of course, Blood Moon Ursaluna is supposed to look like, you know, Super Demon Bear, basically. Guys, come on. Don't do that. All right, get back over there. That's better. All right, now back to herding. This sort of reminds me that there was a video game for the PlayStation 2 called Hurdy-Gurdy. And it was like about animal herding as the mechanic. And I think it sort of had a cover art where it was like this kid who was making like a freaky face at a sheep or something. And then there was this big fucking bear behind it too that was also kind of making a face. If I recall correctly. I remember playing the demo of it, and I never played the actual game. I'd say who out here remembers demos, but demos still exist. They just don't come on CDs that are included with magazines. Mostly because paper-based game publications are gone. You remember it? Okay, so, well, I guess at least there's proof that I'm not insane and Hurdy-Gurdy is a real game. It's the thing that you use to put bullets in guns sometimes, Credence. Wait, no, sorry. That's a different use of the same word. Yeah, see, we were both thinking the exact same bad joke. And if you call it a clip to the right people, they'll get really fucking mad at you. And probably try to shoot you, so I'm not even going to be like, oh, who fucking cares what they think, but... Because I imagine that would be a little bit unpleasant. Oh, hey, look, everybody, it's Oddish again. Can this one stay frozen for more than one turn? We did get an instant unfreeze earlier, which, to be fair, with how much freeze we've been landing, it probably should happen at least once or twice, right? We should be getting a couple of auto thaws just because if it's happening this much, otherwise I'll just be like, Jesus, where's this RNG when I'm shiny hunting, right, guys? Which, to be fair, that's still kind of what I feel anyway. I should probably go and grab my copy of Violet and try to catch a shiny Porygon before that event ends. Oh, wow, look at how balanced out our attack and special attack are. I was not expecting that to be the case. Like, yeah, Carkol really does not, and Colossal eventually too, just don't look like special attackers whatsoever. I'll drop Rock Polish. The use case hasn't come up, but Smackdown still has damage out. And, I mean, Ancient Power would be a bad choice to rely on our only Rock Stab, because the attack isn't super high, and it only has 5 PP. So, like, if we need that for something that's a bit of a slugfest, that would not be great. Of course, they usually give Rock-type attacks really shit PP, because as an attacking type, Rock is just one of the best in the entire series. Just in terms of, like, sheer hitting the most things. Okay, yeah, make sure that we max out Gene Hoglin's HP here. I've probably used more items in this gym than I've used in, like, any other Pokemon game that I've played on here for the entire run. Possibly even more than several of them combined. That's right, everybody. Get set up for a little bit of something going on here. We're going to have a fight. This guy might be a legitimate challenge. And to be fair, we're starting out without having a grass resist. Because Ice does not resist grass. Ice is a terrible type on the defense. We're going to hold off on that Dynamax. We're probably going to end up feeding that to Carkol, because we'll probably end up switching that in to take out the other Pokemon here. Yeah, unfortunately, as much as Gigantic Swinub would be really funny, I have a feeling that this is very much not an ideal Pokemon to be using in this fight. Truly, if I wanted to have, like, the best Pokemon possible here, well, I probably would have wanted to have started with Scorbunny then, but I think that Vanillite would have been a better choice for us, and we were able to see those out in the field at the same time that we got our little Hoglin here, so yes. But let's go for this. Yeah, the music in this game is pretty good, by the way. Just I do have my volume down a little bit, so it's not necessarily doing the best job of it, but Pokemon soundtracks, especially like in the latter day, tend to be very, very good. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still not sure what the deal was with Ed Sheeran in Scarlet Violet, you know. And I'll put an asterisk here that I don't necessarily think Ed Sheeran is bad. He's just, well, first of all, it's not really my bag to begin with, because I'm much more of a prog and metalhead than anything. And it's just that I think that he's a little bit like, just kind of not very interesting as an artist, right? Which is a shame, because he seems like he probably should be. He started off a lot more folksy, if I recall correctly, and had some, like, odd ways of writing his songs, you know, in terms of word usage and everything. But he just sort of turned into, well, not being that great. Now, Hard Sun against a grass type can be a bit of a scary proposition, but I have a feeling that this is going to not be a huge issue. We get Harsh Sunlight from our Max Flare, I think it was called. And Max Overgrowth sets Grass Field. Now, obviously, as you can probably guess, Max moves have the same secondary effect and name, no matter what, as long as they're the same type and they deal damage. But their power varies depending on the power of the move that you use. So, for example, if I were to select the Max Rockfall based on Ancient Power, it would do a little more damage than the Max Rockfall based on Smackdown. But it would be using a different attack stat, and it would have the same secondary effect. So if that's all you're going for, then optimizing what moves you use for any of that stuff is not necessarily very important. And there are some Dynamax moves that are just so good that you really, in terms of their secondary effect, that you just want to have access to them. So in general, like, competitive Pokemon of the 8th generation where Dynamax was legal, which means not Smogon singles, was very heavy on Pokemon Dynamaxing who could use flying type moves, because that gave a move called Max Airstream that buffs your and your allies, speed by 1 stage each. And while speed is not literally everything in competitive Pokemon, it is a lot. So being able to do that on demand with so many Pokemon is something of great value. Anyway, we beat our first gym after like 5 hours of play. This game, there's definitely a lot of stuff to distract you from the main course. God, his hands are huge compared to ours. Okay, we're now allowed to catch Pokemon up to level 25. So we still can't capture that Onix if we want to, but like, it's Onix, so meh. TM10, Magical Leaf. That is a very handy move to have. And there's our grass type uniform. I gotcha. And say as he comes over like, hey, why are you giving that away for free? Next step is over to Holbury. Or go catch more Pokemon, which, to be fair, this is a game that really does allow us to cycle through Pokemon a little bit better than previous games, I would say. So maybe that's not necessarily a bad idea. But first things first, let's go get healed. And let's shuffle up our party and see if we can't get a little bit of new Dorcases in here who might be pretty useful. Because yeah, there's just so many good Pokemon, and yes. Thankfully, there's also experience candies that we can access later to help us raise up some of our new Pokemon a little faster. So I think our Gossifleur is going to go in there. Part of it is also that I keep reading chat as Seabat, and that upsets me, so I'm sorry, you have to warm the bench for that, buddy. That's what you get. And I guess we can put the Jack-o'-lantern in here as well, and you know what, if we're going out to the field, we can also, I guess, get into a raid in order to add a little something extra to our retinue of stuff that we're doing. The next bat Pokemon you find. Don't you mean the next bat Pokemon I see? I don't think Pumpkaboo or Gourgeist can learn Woodhammer, unfortunately, so that will have to remain the case for... Oh. Hey, a Wishing Piece. We've seen those for sale, but we've never got one before. Okay, it's normal flying type, so that's like a Pidgey or something. Do I have anything that works better against that? I think maybe we put Forge in there and go for some rock moves. Yeah, don't invite others. Let's go for it. It's not literally a Pidgey. I think it's Pidove or something. Yeah. This thing. Probably my least favorite of the regional first birds. At least it's like the full line. When did I teleport to New York? That's a good question, Mega Man. I thought we were in England. Why do we not have like a different bird that poops on you? Because I don't know. Do they have that many pigeons in England? Oh, nice work, Pikachu. Doing just crap loads of damage. Yeah, this one is a shitload easier than that Swirlix that we fought. Ooh, Doctor. Yeah, so I don't care about this thing. I just want its lunch money. And we got a Tri-Attack TR. That's pretty nice. Remember all the pigeons during the... not offhand, I don't, so I'll take your word for it, but I don't remember them very well, because, admittedly, I don't completely remember everything from that sequence. Wow, that's a lot of Wingulls. This many seagulls, that definitely reminds me of Chicago a little bit. There are definitely some places where you would see an absolute crap ton of these guys just all hanging out like mine. Wait. That's like the worst impression of the seagulls from Finding Nemo that anybody's ever... But... I can do it in French, though. Moi, 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 moi. Yeah, back when I was in grammar school, I went to a gifted school for the last, like, half of my grammar school. And we had French classes, and sometimes the French teacher would just, like, show us a movie. And it would be one that we knew, but in French instead of in English. So one time we watched Finding Nemo in French across a couple of class sessions. So I became familiar with them all going, moi, moi, moi. And I feel like I've heard that more than I've heard the English ones. Them just going, mine, 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 mine. Don't invite others. We can take this thing on with just Carkol and the other goofballs. Max Mindstorm. That's going to set Psychic Terrain, maybe? I'll catch a Natu. This might be a Pokemon that we use. Possibly. What do we get as a... Oh, just Tri-Attack? Oh. Alright, do we have a name for this weird little pea with wings? Rotund. Well, as much as I got, we're going with Rotund. You can look at it when it evolves and be like, oh, that's off, but... I guess we can do another one of these. And then head back to the main plot and give a couple of our Pokemon some EXP candies. Oh hey, there's a wild horse. Wild Haunts. The next gym is water type, so if we can see like a grass or an electric type, that'd be helpful. Oh, it's a rock type. It's just a Roggenrola. Well, this thing should get vaporized in like one hit. Nah, I don't really need to catch Roggenrola. We're not going for a full Pokedex in this run through, so yeah. Hey, Drill Run as a TR. That's pretty good. No, it's just a Metapod. I was like, I saw something a little yellow. And it wasn't really all that yellow. It's just a Metapod. Wow, look at all these Tyrogues. There's a lot of them. Personally, I don't feel like messing with trying to get the right evolution for these guys. Not this early in the game, that's for sure, so... Yeah, give me some free watts. That'll do. Those Butterfrees are not interested in me whatsoever. It's kind of bizarre. Why do we even need them up there then? You don't get these watts very fast, unfortunately, do you? Pelipper, we got more Wingulls. I guess because we're back in the place where they show up. Here comes an Electrike. I mean, I guess that's an Electric-type Pokemon, but I would like one that's good. You know? Manectric is, like, usable, but not great, in my opinion. Well, I guess we can try catching this one. It might have good stats. Oh, we've got electric terrain going because of the thunderstorm. That's interesting. Me pressing A too much. Well. I'll nickname this one later. If I decide I'm going to use it. Because for now, to be honest with you, mostly I just want to go over here. Fight whatever is in here. We got a Corphish. I'm not super attached to Corphish, so... I think we're not really gonna catch this. It's like, what if not good Krabby, right? Hey, good job there, Hawlucha. Doing the usual Hawlucha things, really. Sizzlipede. That won't be too hard. Let's take this on real quick. Ooh, Flamethrower. That's pretty good. I forget what the Dynite Ore is for, so... Anyway, yeah, back to Turf Field. Rename that Pokemon. God, this Route 5 looks long as hell. Oh yeah, I don't have to use the PC to do that. You can just go over here and... I kind of wish that they would change the way that the nickname dialogue, because the name raider thing feels a little bit silly, especially because it doesn't actually have any real effect of like, oh, he's not doing anything for it, right? He just says, oh, that's too good of a nickname for you to want to change if it's something you get in a trade. Like, okay, that's the only time nicknames are good, or when they come from other people? Cool. That's odd. Don't think about it too much, really. So this way is out to Route 5? Yeah, unless somebody knows where I can get a very early Thunderstone. So that way I could get myself a Jolteon. I think that I'm kind of sticking with what I've got for grass and electric types unless I find anything new. Brutal Swing! It's an area of effect dark damage move. It doesn't do great damage. But hey, it's a little bit more reliable than Beat Up, I think. So at least there's that. Ah, double battle. That thing that they started pushing really hard at one point, and then they weren't sure how hard to go with it. So ultimately, now all of us are kind of confused about how much this is a thing that matters. We should be able to destroy that Kling in one hit, right? Yeah, it's not like super defensive. It's very average as a basic tier Pokemon goes anyway. We're gonna move with strength. Yeah, we can do that. Endure is not gonna be super useful for me. Oh, you're going for the accuracy debuff instead of damage, huh? Well, alright. You do you, buddy. I'm gonna pound it just in case it has dry skin as its ability. Which could cause my turn to be wasted in two different ways. There we go, there's the Thunder Shock I was waiting for. Oh, hey, look, it's a Swirlix. I was like, what's that Puffball? I thought it was a wild Eldegoss for a second. No, it's just a Swirlix. We got a couple of these Gooboos. A couple other random normal types. Yeah, we got our silly Chinchilla Pokemon over here. There's an item back there. Okay, yeah, so I can actually get through the... Well, they're all still chasing me. Let's clean them up. Oh, wow, no one-shot there. It's level 21. That's not insignificant. Levels in this game are pretty high. Wants to learn Sucker Punch. That is something we can exploit, although it's a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes. We'll take it, though. Roll them in some dust. Yeah, that seems to be their normal way of doing things, right? Both real chinchillas and even the chinchilla Pokemon. Possibly. Hey, we got to confuse. Good work there, Water Pulse. Remembering that it can inflict a status effect. Wow. And it helped us turn that into a one-turn fight. Neat. Let's learn Leech Seed. Yeah, we can probably fit that on here. That's more usable than Astonish. Oh, our Pumpkaboo picked up an item. I forgot that it has Pickup as an ability. That's very handy, actually. Well, I guess depending on what it found. It found a Repel! Neat. Repel is generally nice to find. And yet, I'm probably not going to use a ton of them in this game. Granted, there aren't really places that behave like the caves did back in older generations. So it's not as important as usual, but hey. Alright. No one shot this time. Boo! Oh well. Happens. Excuse me. Am I looking for a shiny Minccino? No, it's just that I happened to end up pulling a very large amount of them while I was in this area. I'm not shiny hunting in this playthrough. They spawn like crazy. Like, that seems like a pretty high spawn rate for this game. Oh, hey, look, it's Wobbuffet. When they gave female Wobbuffet the absolutely ridiculous-looking lipstick. Alright. 2 Chelan berries and a Person Berry, a Chesto Berry, and a Person Berry. Quit. I'll take those. That'll do. Hey, you. This guy seemed to be holding that ladle a little bit precariously. That thing would slip out of my hand if I was doing that, that's for sure. Okay, so Applin is not really a thing that we want to be fighting with Roger Moore here. Let's get our bird out there to take those grass type attacks. Oh. All it did was use Astonish. I probably could have stayed in. It's fine, though. Not necessarily a bad idea to distribute my experience a little better. Yeah, those 2 goofballs are over there still. Another incoming Minccino. Wow, look at all of them. Is there a... Yeah, there's a TM over there. It's just attract. Well, it attracted my attention at least. Yeah, as I sort of alluded to, the TM moves tend to be a little bit more gimmicky than they were in previous games because they use the TRs for all the hard-hitting stuff. Alright, so can anything in here learn any, like, good moves? I can teach Magical Leaf to Puff Puff, but that's so far about it. I can't even teach Drill Run to anything? Wow. Flamethrower can go for a couple of those. That's neat. Oh, wow, a Minccino. Who could imagine? Out here? No. No, that's ridiculous. Also, way lower level than the local wild Pokemon. That's kind of a shock, actually. About to send out Steenie. That is a grass type. So I know a good way to handle that. And it involves a bird. Yeah, I mean, the grenade would probably be overkill, but it would work. Now that you mention it... Ah. I haven't played Worms in a minute. But I think that's also because the last time I tried to play it with somebody that I know online, it had a little bit of difficulty with trying to set up the multiplayer. Alright, try a Sucker Punch. Yeah, that worked. It didn't quite get a kill, but it worked. Unfortunately, he was smart enough to use a healing move. On the upside, it's not a strong enough healing move to stop me from just ruining this thing afterwards, so... a valiant effort. A fair idea, but also get the fuck out of here. Hey, good chunk of experience for the whole team. Round, we'll pass on that. Sending out Cutiefly. That's a pretty good Pokemon, actually. I like Cutiefly and Ribombee quite a bit. Unfortunately, at this stage, not so much of a useful thing for this fellow. You say, is this the egg center? The breeding center? The Pokemon nursery? There we go. Daycare is usually what I remember it being called, but I think calling it the egg center is vaguely humorous. Hey, more repel. Put it back in your bag. And put you up at the front and build a brawl. They're trying to steal your bike, huh? Well, I mean, how hard can it possibly be to find yourself a bike? Oh, we're getting a bit of frame rate there. Yeah, to be fair, Pokemon only do that when they're not being watched, right? That... Well, obviously, I don't think that... The parents wouldn't appreciate kids finding out about, oh, the Pokemon fucked. Listen, have you seen how they acted about Pokemon in general? The fact that they evolved? Oh yeah, Thievul's got like a little mustache. I kind of forgot about that. If you look real closely. The Pidgeys and the Beedrills, yeah. Mad J. Milton, how you doing? Hope you're having a nice evening. Now, surely I'm going to have to fight the other goon right after this, right? Yeah. I knew it was going to be a back-to-back, right? Because it would be very silly if they were just like, hey, here's exactly one Goofus. And this one is sending out Sableye. Sableye is a Pokemon that's a little bit weird looking, but oh, when this thing came out, that Dark Ghost typing, that was something that I seem to recall people being a little bit concerned about because they thought, oh yeah, surely this thing is going to be a real pain in the butt because it has no weakness. And then not so much. Why Roger Moore? Because I asserted that when Sobble fully evolves into Inteleon, it does kind of look a little bit like they were going for sort of a James Bond vibe for it. And I picked Roger Moore because I was like, okay, pick one of the James Bond actors. And that was the one that I thought of after I thought of Sean Connery. And why not Sean Connery? Because, I don't know, I don't think Inteleon is that cool. Is that mean? Probably mean, but yeah, because Roger Moore, one of the multiple James Bonds. See the second one? No, I forget my order on things. Timothy Dalton was before that, right? I actually haven't watched a ton of James Bond movies. Certainly not in a very long time. You don't think you've ever seen the tag on the Stuffle's butt before? Third, okay, yes, after George Lazenby. There we go. That is admittedly a slightly more unusual name than either Roger Moore or Timothy Dalton. But Sean Connery, who's going to forget Sean Connery? This guy just hands over the bike that was about to be stolen from him because that makes perfect logical sense. And apparently he's basically, I guess, invented the e-bike. I don't know when electronic bicycles were first available, but it seems sort of like he's basically, at least in universe, invented the e-bike. But now that we have a bicycle, this is how we're going to get around a lot more often because it moves a lot faster. And while we don't have the ability to use it to travel over water or anything just yet, it is going to simplify travel in the wild area just by virtue of the fact that you go a lot faster. So I won't just be like, oh yeah, I don't feel like going to that raid, it's too damn far. If we need to go to some of those to get more EXP candies or something. I mean, it could have flotation devices attached to it. Just have to actually attach them to your bike. Eventually, this bike gets the ability to transform, so that way we don't have to use Surf as a TM, or HM rather. And I'll tell you this, it's not the most ridiculous looking e-bike that I've seen ever. Real or otherwise. No, that actually makes this sound somehow even more bizarre than what was going on with the Gen 9 dragons, now that you mention it. Like, how does it just suddenly learn the ability to reconfigure itself into a floaty thing? Man, I'm asking why something in a Pokemon game doesn't make sense. I think I may have lost the thread here a little bit. About to send in Corvisquire. We have something that can actually kind of counter that in the form of Forge here. By just chucking some rocks at it. Now, in order to secure our one-turn kill a little better here, I'll be using Ancient Power, because that should have slightly better damage. And also, even if it fails, then I forget how long the Smackdown effect lasts for. If it's just one turn or what. Oh, right. He's a story trainer. He has healing items. That's right. Yeah, so he may not count as a flying type now. No, it doesn't last that long. It's only until the end of turn. Which makes it much more of a doubles-oriented thing. I know that Roost is only until the end of turn, for example. Yes, he's about to send out the awkward middle stage of his rabbit, Raboot. I'm sure that Roger Moore can clean up here. Man, even at this point, this kid still just thinks so highly of himself. It's a little ridiculous. An easy one shot. Yeah, what a absolute... He's not even like the fun kind of smug, I don't think. He's just sort of like bothersome because... Like, you think about Gary motherfucking Oak, right? Our old friend from Gen 1. And he definitely, like, he thinks very highly of himself, but he's also just kind of a jerk personality-wise. Meanwhile, Hop is, like, trying to be fun, but he's also so assured of his high value. I think that counts as smug. Like, he thinks that he's like this super good, like he's something special. I mean, he's definitely not like, again, he's not like the classic jerk-ass rival, but he definitely way overvalues himself. Low-key gaslights a little bit. Yeah, Bede is significantly more... But I think Bede also is just, like, kind of a jagoff in general. Like, just a rancid dude who has this really not good personality, as I suppose you would expect. Again, I don't think Bede is as extreme as Silver in terms of that, but Bede is definitely a huge asshole. Hop is definitely, like, way too self-assured, though. Like, certainly he's some grade of arrogant. Except after the battle ends, at which point he's just back to being all happy-go-lucky and a goofball. Because, you know, it makes total sense, right? Completely, perfectly orchestrated character personality, yeah? It's kind of hard to say, like, Gary is absolutely less of a bastard than Silver is. Like, Silver is, like, actually villainous, and he does things that hinder you in a serious way, such as yanking your disguise off when you're going to the Team Rocket hideout. Gary doesn't quite reach that level, but Gary is definitely... He is significantly more arrogant than Hop is. But also he is just kind of like a bit of a tool in this sort of like... Again, not a villain, but a jerk. Somebody you don't really want to be around. Yeah, I mean, that he gets away with it because he's Gary motherfucking Oak, and you can't ignore his girth. I almost said can't resist, but that's not correct. Gary is a better trainer, yeah. But in general, I think part of that is because the difficulty curve on Pokemon games has gotten a little bit less steep over the years. I don't want to be like, oh, Pokemon Red and Blue were so hard, but they definitely had some bits that kind of sucked a little bit. Like, I think that Misty's Starmie is probably a worse Pokemon than Whitney's infamous Miltank, but that thing is kind of infamous for a good reason, because it does throw something pretty hardy at you in an area of the game where you don't have the greatest options to deal with it. You have some, but you might also miss out on them quite easily. Oh god, well I don't remember like much of anybody from the anime, so that's a little outside my wheelhouse here. And here's the local regional version of Farfetch'd. They really wanted to make this thing a lot better, right? Which, I mean, fair enough, I get it. Farfetch'd is one of those Pokemon that is really set up in such a way that, like, you want to respect it in a certain way, because it's from an in-game trait. It's super rare, and then it's just kind of not useful. Like, Pidgeot is much stronger. Fearow is much, much stronger. And don't even get me started on fucking Dodrio, right? I've always sort of had a feeling like that about Farfetch'd. Like, yeah, I want this to be a good Pokemon. It's kind of cool, but, like, oh yeah, I sort of remember what this dude looks like. I just don't remember any of his character. So, yeah. So they made a new regional variant of Farfetch'd, which has its own unique evolution called Sirfetch'd, who carries a sword and shield. Sirfetch'd is pretty neat. I remember a lot of people being like, wow, that's... you know, really, really shocked by it and kind of rooting for it to be a good Pokemon. Which, again, hey, I get it. Before we enter that next zone, I want to see if I can get Gossifleur to level 20 here, because we've seen Wild Eldegoss already, so surely we should be pretty close to evolving it, right? It's at level 19, I think. And hey, here's this dopey thing, by the way, that we already caught in a raid. Hello. Oh, Credence. Yeah, the abusive trainer as the fire starter. Yeah, because I remember... God, what was that douchebag from the first season who had the Charmander? Damien? Was that his name? Was it Damien? Man. After that one movie, I can't trust nobody who's named Damien, let me tell you what. Oh. You know, I can probably just feed this thing some... I can probably just feed my Gossifleur some candies. Yeah, exactly. That's the guy I'm thinking of. You remember Credenza? I remember a lot of little bits of the old Pokemon anime from like very far back. But not a ton. I haven't really watched anything much newer than the Johto era. Wants to learn the move Cotton Spore. That's not really a thing that I'm gonna do very much. If I want status effects, it's not really gonna be just cut their speed in half. That's something I'd rather take as the side effect of paralysis, you know? Kind of dipped after that. Yeah, that's fair. I definitely watched a lot less after that period. Granted, I unfortunately was also in that group of kids who was like, kind of like, oh, Ash, why would you give up such and such a Pokemon? And, you know, basically kind of, you know, bothered. Why wasn't he making the best gameplay plays? Which, like, it operates on different rules. Come on, not everything is about statistics and all that stuff. It, you know. Generally, I kind of worried that I ended up getting shockingly close in a lot of cases to being a kind of terrible person, but I digress. That is enough Pokemon for the day. Again, nice long gap between the start of the game and your first gym, but we've passed that, so the pace should be picking up a little bit more now, hopefully.